In this video, I'm going to be talking to you about Selleramp SAS. For me personally, the best piece of software that you need as an Amazon FBA seller. Now, let's face it, without it, how are you going to know if you can sell a product, how well that product sells, what profit you're going to be making, and so much more. So I'll talk to you about the software, but I'll also talk to you about how to analyze products. Now, this is their website. There is a link in the description. So if you haven't already got it, make sure you do. Now, in regards to pricing, you do get a 14-day completely free trial. And after that, it's £13.95 plus VAT per month, which is really, really good value for money. Now, when you set up Selleramp, you're going to want to need to adjust your settings before you do anything else. So let's head over to settings now and I'll show you what to select. Let's look at Amazon specifics. So first of all, make sure amazon.co.uk is selected. Obviously, we are selling in the UK. And feel free to copy my settings here. Now, this is really important because between the 1st of October and the 31st of October, Amazon do charge more storage fees, okay? Just due to more products coming in, more going out, obviously with it being Christmas. So Selleramp should change these settings automatically for you. However, sometimes they don't. So make sure you set a calendar reminder for the 1st of October to turn them on, and then for the 31st of December to turn them off. It's really important that you do this because this will affect kind of how much profit you're making per unit. Now let's go down to VAT settings. So if you're just starting out on Amazon, the chances are you're not going to be VAT registered. So select not registered here. Now, if you are VAT registered, make sure you select standard rate and then have 20% here. Okay. Now to become VAT registered, it's when you hit £90,000 worth of revenue within a 12-month period. So once you hit that, speak to your accountant and make sure you get that sorted. Now, moving over to buying criteria. Now, you've got minimum BSR and maximum BSR. BSR is the best-selling rank on Amazon. Now, every category that you have on Amazon, whether it be home and kitchen, toys and games, CDs and vinyls, everyone has its own ranking system. The lower the BSR, the better the selling product. Now, minimum BSR is 0, maximum BSR doesn't really matter too much, but I normally put 2%. Now, with this criteria here, I'll show you shortly, but if, for example, you select £2 minimum profit and you find a product that's £1.90, it will show that in a red box. If it's £2 or above, it will show in a green box. So it's just easy access to see if that's meeting your criteria or not. But feel free to change it however you wish. For me personally, BSR doesn't really matter. It's all dependent on how many times a month that product sells, which Selleramp will tell you. Minimum profit, again, this can change depending on how you're sourcing your products as well. Now, I like to put £2 because I like there to be a little bit of negotiation with my prices. If lots of people jump on the listing and the price tumbles, I don't want to kind of be at £1 minimum profit because you're going to get to break even very, very quickly. And then minimum ROI, I put 20%. Again, this can change. Now, prep fees are really hard to work out because sometimes you might send a box into Amazon and only ship 3 items. Sometimes you can fit 100 items in a box. Now, if you use a prep center, they will charge you per item that you send. And obviously you can put that in here. And then that will also show when you're looking at your profit on each particular product as well, of how much profit you're going to be making with that prep fee included. But I just leave that at 0. And that's pretty much all you need to do on the general tab. Now, display, you can copy my settings. I don't think I've ever changed anything on here. It's not really too important. And then you've got your SAS panels. So with your SAS panels, when you search your product, this will be the order of the data that you're going to be shown. Okay, so you can select whether they're on or off, and then you can move them. The higher that you move them, the more important they are to you. Okay. Now, I keep buy box analysis off. For me personally, I don't look at buy box statistics. So this will be, Amazon will say, Amazon have a higher share of the buy box, or this seller has a higher share. I've been selling on Amazon for 5 years now, and I've never had a problem where a product hasn't sold, so I don't really look at that. I also keep Arbitrage Hero Reverse Search off. That's another piece of software linked to Selleramp, so that's an additional cost, but I don't use it, so I keep it off. And then I also keep off geolocation, eBay, ROI, BQ, and used offers. Now, if you use Seller Toolkit, and also if you use RB Source, I'll show you how this works within Selleramp shortly. But make sure they're turned on, make sure they're configured, put in your API keys so they're linked. But they're really, really useful when analyzing products as well. So let's start looking into a bit of analysis. Now, first of all, you can do this on your web browser. You can add the Chrome extension, and also you can download this on your mobile phone. So if you're doing something like retail arbitrage and you want to scan a barcode to work out the profit, that's a really, really good tool. They've also got an AI image search. So if the barcode's not found, you can just take a photo of the product and it will try and find it. But sometimes it doesn't find it via the product, but sometimes it also doesn't find it via the barcode, because sometimes Amazon put the wrong barcodes on their listings. So what you can do also is just manually type in the product name, which you can do up the top here. You've got a history tab here, so everything you've ever sourced. I've sourced over 150,000 items, well, looked at 150,000 items. So rather than going through every single tab trying to find the right item, you can search for the product in here. And then you've got your settings tab, and then you've also got contact as well. They're really, really good at getting back in touch if you ever have any problems, usually within 24 hours. So let's do some analysis. So here we can see the product image, the title, the brand, the ASIN, and the barcode. Okay. Now you've got the dimension of the product, so you can kind of work out how many will fit into a box. You've got the description of the product here. You've got an Amazon link taking you directly to the Amazon page. You've got a Google product link here. So if you're trying to reverse source this and try and find it cheaper, you can click on this, go into the shopping tab and see if you can find that product cheaper on Google. Don't worry about this one. This is Walmart. Obviously, we're selling in the UK. And then this is the SAS web app. So this will bring up a bigger version of what you're seeing now. So quick info, this is really, really important. So I'll go through this with you now. So first of all, eligibility. Can we sell this on Amazon? Now you need to be logged into your Amazon Seller Central account for this to activate. Now, sometimes it will say yes, sometimes it will say no. But to get a real clear indication of whether you can actually sell this product, I would usually ignore this, grab the ASIN, add it to your inventory and see whether you can sell it or whether you need to ungate it. Now we've got some alerts here, so we'll go through the alerts now that you need to be made aware about. So first of all, hazmat dangerous goods. Obviously we can't ship hazmat products with standard products and oversized products. So this will tell you whether it's a hazmat product or not. Now you've got IP and PL. So IP is intellectual property, PL is private label. Now Selleramp essentially guess whether it's IP or PL. So it's not always 100% accurate. I'll show you later on in the video of how we can determine whether it is or not through our analysis. But yeah, take IP and PL with a pinch of salt. You know, ignore that, do your own analysis. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. Now you've got, do Amazon share the buy box? This is unknown. Like I mentioned previously, I don't really care if they share the buy box or not. I've been selling for 5 years, never had a problem selling products, never been stuck with a product. So I ignore that. Some people, you know, like to use this. I don't personally. Then you have generic. So is it a generic or an unknown brand? Personally, I stay away from generic or unknown brands. They can cause a lot of issues on Amazon, and Amazon can often remove those listings. You've got UF, which is unknown fees. Now, if we don't know what the fees are, we don't know how much profit we're going to make. So again, we'll leave those products alone. And then the last one is oversized. So as we know, oversized items cannot be shipped with standard size items. Now, if you've got one big item that you can only fit one per box, and this is going to cost you £20 to buy, and you're only making £5.41 profit, and the box is going to cost you £4 to send into Amazon, all your profit's gone. So there's no point sourcing that product. Now the BSR best-selling rank is shown here. This is 1%, so it's not a bad selling product. Estimated sales of 22 sales per month. Again, this is estimated. Now, max cost. So if we select 2136 in here, it will show what our max cost is to meet our minimum ROI that we set in our settings. So 19.99%. Now, sale price currently is £37.99, which gives us a profit of £9.57, an ROI of 63.8%, and a break even of 23.92. So if we put 23.92 in here, we know that we're not making any money on this product. But that means that we've actually got quite a lot of movement if the price does tumble. Okay, so here we can see that there's 7 offers on Amazon. Amazon are on the listing, 2 FBA sellers and 5 FBM sellers. Now with this graph, you can see the buy box price. Now we can look at the day, the week, the month, every 3 months, every year, or all time. But I normally look at 3 months. It gives you a good indication. However, if you're buying a seasonal product and you want to know how well it sold the year before, we can just scroll back through and look at what the price was, look at what the monthly sold is at that point in time. So we can see this product ranges from £39.99 to 48 quid, £39.99, 48 quid. So it goes up and down a little bit, but we're kind of at the lowest point at the moment, which is still giving us a really good profit. So the pink line is the buy box, so the price it's currently selling at on Amazon. The yellow graph means Amazon are in stock. So where it's unshaded here in white, that means Amazon were out of stock for a period of time. And then the green line is showing you the best-selling rank. So 50,000, 42,000. It's really, really good sign to see things going up and down because it means it is selling. Because when it drops, it means usually a product is sold because it's dropping down in the rank. Now here we've got monthly sold. Again, sometimes it varies depending on time of year. What we can look at here is it always sells around 50 times per month. But then if we go to sort of December, 400, 500, which is expected of a product like this. Now, this is really, really important. This is your offer count. So how many people are selling this on Amazon? So we've got 8, we got down to 7, back to 8 again, down to 6. So sellers dropping off the listing essentially means it's selling, right? But also it's a good indication of IP or private label. So with private label, when you look at your offers, you'll normally only see either Amazon on the listing, Amazon and the brand on the listing, or just the brand on the listing, okay? Now, what we want to check for IP, so an IP is a brand basically kicking everybody off the listing. So always look at all time and just see if there's any sudden drops. But there's not on here, so it looks like it could be okay. So obviously 8 sellers. If it went from 8 sellers horizontal line down to 1 seller, we know that all those sellers have been kicked off the listing if it has happened in the same day. If you're not sure of a brand, you can look at multiple listings and see if you can see like a trend in things dropping off or sellers dropping off the listing. That would be a very clear indication of IP. So you want to make sure that there's no sudden drop-offs of sellers, just steady lines where sellers are coming on and coming off the listing, fine. Now, if we see a sudden drop-off, because sometimes when you click all time, it could go back to, say, 2021, and then a big drop-off it might look at, but what you can do is select this, zoom in, and you can see very clearly if it's a big drop-off or whether it's just like a gradual drop-off, because over Christmas, you could have 20 sellers dropping off over 3 days because it sold so well, but actually it's not an IP, it's just because they're selling through their items. So here we've got a list of sellers with the amount of stock that they hold. Now, this isn't always accurate, okay? Some people set limits of how many products people can buy. So you've got Amazon here, it shows 76 in stock. So this could be the maximum that you can order at one time is 76. It could be they've actually got 76 in stock. But most of the time you'll either see for Amazon 999 or you'll see 3. And if it shows 3, it doesn't mean they've got 3 in stock. It basically means they're only allowing 1 seller at a time to buy 3 units. And then you can see the units of everybody else here as well. Now, this is European marketplaces. This is quite handy if you ever want to reverse source, if you do some Amazon to Amazon EU. So sometimes you can buy from France, Germany, Spain, and England. Spain and Italy. Get it shipped over to England, and then obviously you can sell it in the UK marketplace. So here we'll give you the rank of these countries and also the price. So if you saw this in France for, say, 15 euros, it'd probably be quite a good buy. So then you can go over to the French Amazon account and then buy it from France and then obviously sell it in the UK. Now, if you have Arbisource, this is really, really good because it's got loads of different products. I'll put the link to Arbisource in the description as well, actually, if you want to check it out. It's a very, very good software to use. But it will essentially try and find the cheapest product on the internet for you. Now we can see that Smith's is the cheapest at £15. Obviously, that's what we're currently paying for that product up here. But if you were reverse sourcing a product, you hadn't already bought it, it's really good to use because you can quite clearly see, you know, what the kind of market looks at. It doesn't have every single website, so I always recommend using the Google search. But it's a very good, clear indicator of what's on the market at what price, and it will show you whether there's something on clearance, etc. Now, what I would advise, now we do a lot of Amazon to Amazon, okay? And sometimes you'll see 50 sales per month here, but then you might see it rocket up to 100 or 200 sales per month. Now, what you might see here is the price go from, say, $39.99, and Amazon have got a discount, whether that's their own discount or whether they're price matching a competitor, and they might drop it to £15 for a few days. And obviously the monthly sold is going to go up because everyone's buying it to then resell it at the higher price. So always be cautious of that, because it's not always a true representation of the sale per month. That could be Amazon sellers buying it to then resell it. So hopefully that makes sense. Now you've got a small keeper graph here. Again, you can look at other countries. So we know from looking up here that no one else sells it in the EU. But if they do, you can see kind of at what price they're selling it at. So you might find this product that you're reverse sourcing, and it might say, right, it's $37.99, but somebody's paid, we think, right, we need to be about 15 or 20 quid cost price to make a good amount of money on this product. You can go on here, click France, and you might see that France are already selling it at £40, but they dropped it to £20. And then what you can then do is buy it from there, or if it's then gone back up in price, use Keeper, which we'll go through in another video to track that product. So if it does drop again, you can get alerted and then buy it at the cheapest price. Now, one thing I forgot to mention in the alerts up here, you've got variations. So sometimes if you've got like a black karaoke machine, a blue, a red, a green, you might have 4 different variations. Now, Amazon, if it is part of a variation, Selleramp will list all the variations here for you. And then there's a checkbox so you can see which one has the most reviews. Now, it's quite a good indication of which one's selling most, but then we do need Keeper again to do a bit more detail to see actually is that variation selling, because we might have found the pink one, but the pink one might not sell as well as the black one. So again, keep an eye out for the Keeper video, and I'll talk you through that in that video there, okay? You've got VAT settings here. So let's say, for example, you are VAT registered and you buy some coffee, which is VAT exempt. You can then adjust these accordingly. So have you paid VAT on the cost price? And the VAT on sale will be no, because you're not going to be claiming back any VAT on that product. So you can adjust those accordingly. So if I find coffee, it's normally VAT on cost off, VAT on sale off, and then basically you earn more profit doing that as well. So it's a really good tip to learn. Here you've got a bit more information. So you've got kind of average prices. So you can see the average 30-day price is £46. The average 90-day price is £44.95. Current prices, etc. as well. So you can look at averages over the last 30 days, 90 days, 180 days, or all time. You can look at a few different things through this panel as well. Now, Google Sheets is quite good. So if you have a virtual assistant, or if you track your spending for a spreadsheet, you can actually attach it through Google Sheets. And then if you find a product and you bought it, rather than inputting it manually, you can just select import to Google Sheet, and it will drag all the data that you've selected to then put into your Google Sheet. Eligibility, I don't really look at this when I'm analyzing products. You can if you want, completely up to you. You've got a profit calculator showing you sort of a bit more of a breakdown. And then this is where your seller toolkit comes in. So you've got your available stock here, stock inbound here, your price, your cost price, and also if you've sold this product before, it will show you how many products that you've sold in the past as well. So it'll give you a nice kind of indication. It will also show you like when your first sale was, when your last sale was. So you can kind of work out how quickly that product is selling. So in a nutshell, that is exactly how Selleramp works. I hope you can see the value in this product. For me, it's a game changer. Now you can just use Selleramp on its own to do your analysis. However, in the next video, we'll talk about Keeper. So Keeper just goes into a bit more detail, shows you a few more things to make more of an informed decision of what you're buying. Normally, if it doesn't have a variation, if it's a high selling product, it's very consistent. You don't really need Keeper, but if it's part of a variation, you're not sure, if actually this product is selling for one reason or another, Keeper will give you the information that you need. So hopefully this has given you enough information to kind of go ahead, download Selleramp and start using it. But there are more YouTube videos online of how to use Selleramp, but this is kind of how I use it, very simplistically, and basically how all the benefits and how all the features work.